Alright, it's another day, it's another lesson. Today I want to talk about what to do against openings that your opponent plays, and you're like, huh, I've never seen that before. This is really weird. What do you do about it? How do you respond to those kind of openings? And, what does it mean when someone tells you to just use good chess principles, basic chess principles? What does all that mean? We're going to dive into all of it, and to simulate probably a 5 or 600 elo player, we're going to go with Maria here, who is rated as a 1000 elo bot. The bots are always way overrated, so we'll see if we get a good game out of Maria here, and we're just going to see what she ends up doing, and we're going to respond with whatever it is, because she's a bot, she could do anything. We're just going to respond with these good chess principles, and we'll talk about what they are as we go. So we're a beginner, so we're just going to start with e4. It's the most basic of openings, and we have a pretty friendly game so far. We both have a pawn in the center. If they didn't put a pawn in the center, so let's say instead of pawn in the center, maybe they played g6, which signals that maybe they are a King's Indian player. If they don't want the center, we put both of our pawns in the center, okay? In this case, though, they've said, no, I want a piece of the center too. Okay, that's fine. So next, once we start staking our claim to the center, we want to develop our minor pieces. So we want to develop our knights and our bishops, and we want to develop quickly so that we can get castled as soon as possible. Alright, so they played their bishop over to c5, adding another attacker to the d4 square. Now, technically in this situation, we could also do a tactic. We could play d4 ourselves, and there just isn't enough, they'd take, we take, they retake, and our queen's in the center. But we don't want to put our queen in the center too early, because then it gets attacked. So instead, in this case, we are just going to develop. We're going to develop our other knight. And that was a weird move. So in moving here, just to move back, they just kind of essentially lost a turn. So we are basically like ahead one extra turn right now, which means if we had the eval bar here, the eval bar would have gone, like, it's probably a point in our favor at this right now, because again, we are essentially one extra turn ahead because our opponent wasted that turn. Alright, so we're just going to continue to get things developed. We need to develop this bishop and castle as soon as possible, so we can play there. We don't want to put it on d3 because it kind of obstructs the ability for us to get our other bishop out. So we don't really want to put this bishop on d3, otherwise we can play it to c4. Or b5. b5, it could just get kicked around a little bit. So I like c4. And we are, again, by playing c4, we are adding even more firepower. Everything is aimed in the center of the board. And now our opponent is playing one of these, like, random weird moves that we talked about. What do we do about this, So in this case, let's just go ahead and keep developing. If you see weird things from your opponent, just know that they are probably wrong. And we don't have to respond to everything. We are more than happy right now developing our pieces. So for right now, if you look, we've got 3 pieces developed. They only have 1 developed. So we're very far ahead in development. So we shouldn't get too worked up over this, okay? We'll just castle. We want to make sure as a beginner to castle before move 10. just to make sure that nothing unfortunate happens. we want to make sure that our king is tucked away and safe before too many things happen. So now we're castled. We need to finish our development, and while we're here, we can also do another good habit, which is creating an escape hatch for our king, because we never want to have to worry about getting back rank mated if someone gets their rook onto the back rank and possibly, you know, they could mate us. So we're just going to create an escape hatch here on h3. That way, if our king needs it, they can get out of harm's way. Our opponent's done another kind of random developing move. They put their knight on the side of the board. And this is what we've talked about before, where this is kind of a bad knight. The knight really would like to be on f6, or in some cases it might do really well on e7, because if it's on e7, there's kind of a synergy between these two knights. They're both guarding each other and watching each other's back. And off on the side of the board, it's just not really doing that much. From here, it doesn't have an immediate future. It can't move to f5 and it can't move to g4 because both are covered by our pawns. So it really can't do a whole lot there. So for that reason, we're just going to continue on, and we're not going to worry about it. We're going to play d3 in order to get this bishop out. Our opponent's playing another random pawn move on the other side of the board. And again, it's this random move. Does it really matter? Not a lot. So at this point, we need to get our other bishop developed. Our choices are d2, e3. We can't play it on f4 because that square is covered by e5. Or we could play it on g5. As a beginner level player, you might think that g5 is good because it's threatening the queen, but we don't really accomplish anything there because the next move they're going to play f6, and that's just going to kick our bishop back, and then we'll lose a turn basically moving it to where we should have put it in the beginning. So that's not really an option for us either. So given that, we're going to put our bishop on e3. All right, they put their rook on b8 now. Does that bother us? What is our opponent planning, right? Are they doing anything that could threaten us with that move? Well, let's think about it. Usually you put your rook behind a pawn that you want to push. So they're putting it behind this pawn, so that maybe tells me, maybe they're thinking about trying to push this pawn down the board. And if they played a move like b5 next turn, that would be threatening our bishop. But we look a little bit deeper into this, and we see that this square is actually covered twice. It's covered by our bishop and our knight. So we're not really afraid of them pushing there, so we should just continue. We should continue our development. Now, how do we do that? We still have a queen that needs to come off the back rank. And so looking around, I think the most effective place for the queen is it's either going to be e2 or d2. So I'm going to put it on e2. I'm not going to think too much about it. We're just going to put it over here on e2. And they played b6. Again, we look and we see, does that really threaten us at all? Not really. Now that we're done moving most of the pieces up and we have these rooks connected, we want to begin moving the rooks towards the center. Because in most of your games, all of the action is going to take place in the center. It's going to take place in these squares mostly, and it's not really going to take there's not going to be as much play on the side of the boards, just because it's less natural for the pieces to really get over there. So for that reason, we want to make sure that we're controlling the center really well. So. And we're going to put our rooks behind things that we want to push. We want eventually If we're not provoked by, you know, them jumping onto our side of the board, we will eventually want to use our pawns to do the dirty work for us and sort of break things open, especially since the Black King is still in the center of the board and hasn't castled yet. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to move Rook A to D1. And we'll see what our friend here has prepared for us next. So they castle. At this point, we also have to move this rook into the center. Okay, rook in the center, right? Okay, and now it's time for us to begin an attack. We have all of our pieces all coordinated here. Everything's looking somewhere towards the center here. And our opponent still, they kind of blocked in their bishop. And their rooks really aren't placed correctly. They have a really bad knight on the edge of the board. So now we need to think about opening up some lines for our rooks so that they can help, so that they can do an attack with us. And the best way to do that is to push some pawns in the center. Before pushing the pawn, we're just going to make sure that, okay, how many pieces will we have pointing at the square once our pawn moves here? Well, we have 1, 2, 3. How many pieces does the opponent have that are attacking that square? 1, 2. So 3 is greater than 2, so that means we can go ahead and push. Alright, and now we see our opponent has miscalculated, and that happens a lot at like a 500 or 600 elo level or even lower. Which is why we used a 1000 elo to simulate it. I don't know how this bot rating thing works, but at any rate, if we look at this square, it only has one piece that is backing it up, versus we have 1, 2 attackers. Oh wait, look, we have 3 attackers, even better. So we know we can safely take this, and we will be up in the exchange. It would be silly for them to recapture afterwards, but hey, you know, if they want to do that. So we need to figure out what the best piece to take is. Alright, now, we could take with the bishop. That's possible. What would we do after taking with the bishop? Maybe we would... I don't know. It's really unclear. Maybe we could take there and then take the knight? Possibly. Otherwise, the thing is, though, if we take this and eventually we move back, we have to be aware that this pawn here on B2 is a little soft. It's vulnerable, so potentially the rook could take it. So I'm thinking if I do have to take this, I wanna create some more threats. Okay. Right now, our opponent only has one good bishop, and it's sitting right here on D6. And even then, it's a little bit arguable, because it's kind of what's called a tall pawn right now. That is to say, it's serving the purpose of a pawn for the most part. It's just guarding another pawn. So it's pretty much just doing an impression of a pawn right now and not looking at anything. But the other one's completely blocked off, so I'm gonna say this one's better. For that reason, we should maybe see about just getting rid of it. So I'm gonna take here with the knight. And you can see they chose now to recapture in the center. That's okay. That's just fine. What should we retake with? We know we're going to be fine. Well, as I've said before, I really like having the bishop pair, especially as this position kind of opens up for us. Having a bishop pair is going to be really nice if we can maintain it. So for that reason, I'm going to take back with the knight. We're going to take back with the knight. We're going to be threatening their knight here. We're going to be threatening their bishop here. All kinds of threats are going on. It's possible, too, if this knight ends up moving, maybe we can get our bishop in and attack the rook. Probably not right away, because if we did that immediately, this pawn could move to c6, and then it would fork the two pieces. We're not really after that. So let's just go ahead here and take with the knight. Oh, take with the knight on f3, I should mention. Okay. So now we have an interesting sort of question. we just have so many great choices now. We can either retake back with the knight, the bishop, or the rook. All are pretty good choices, if I'm honest. I do kind of like also taking, not right away because we would hang our queen, but I think I'm looking more so at taking with the bishop, because if we take with the bishop, depending on what they do, next we can go ahead and take the bishop here on d6. And the only way they can retake is with the pawn there, and they're going to be doubling up their pawns in the center. And in general, it's just not good to double pawns. It makes it really clunky, hard to move them around. So it's all good in this situation. Plus, other good news, if we take with the bishop will also do a really good job at guarding this weak square on b2. So it really does an amazing job. It's going to be so good. So we're going to go ahead and take back with the bishop. And now we can see another blunder on the part of our opponent here. They went and retook on b5, so we don't have to think long about this at all. They don't have anyone else guarding b5, and we've got a bishop with the queen behind it, so we're just going to go ahead and take off that rook. They push the pawn up. Let's ask ourselves, does that threaten anything? It is on our side of the board, and when the opponent places things on our side of the board, well, that's not very nice of them, and we usually need to do something about that. But in this case, I don't think this is really causing us any problems, right? So let's look at other things that we can do instead. And it should be mentioned too that if you notice, we aren't just like single-minded in attacking our opponent's king in all this, right? We're setting up our pieces in really good squares where they're all attacking the center, they're all really active, and we're waiting on our opponent to make the mistakes. And we've got eyes like an eagle, or in my case, eyes like a red panda. Us red pandas, we're really good at spotting things to eat. Yeah, like plants and whatnot. Yeah, I guess. So anyway, eyes like whatever creature has really good eyes. I guess an eagle would have better eyes than me. We're going to catch any of those times that our opponent blunders. And we're making sure not to blunder ourselves. So it is a point now where we need to decide what to do next. We've got a lot of firepower in the center. So let's just push some pawns for right now. We almost never want to push pawns in front of our king, aside from making like this escape hatch on the side of the board. We always want to make that, but we don't want to push other pawns in front of the king because we would be compromising our king's safety. So we want to keep him safe and tucked in bed in the corner, okay? So let's just go ahead and push this pawn in the center and ask our opponent what they are going to do with this bishop. Okay, they moved the bishop back. And let's see, what happens if we still push? It's kind of giving up a pawn at that point, so maybe we don't want to do that. Maybe we should push some pawns on this side of the board, you know? Is it the right thing to do? I mean, maybe. Is there anything else to do right now? Not really. We can afford to be patient here, right? So I'm just gonna push. I'll push a4. You know, if we do a4, it kind of locks this bishop in place and makes it all safe. It also stops this pawn from going forward anymore. So let's push a4. But really, there is no wrong choice there. You know, we are 3 points ahead, so we can just chill. You know. We're not worried at all. And since we're up pieces, our strategy now is going to be not taking huge risks. The game isn't won until it's over, and our main goal now is going to be finding trades. We want to become a trading machine. We want to force our opponent to trade all their pieces with us so that they just don't have any pieces left. So how can we get them to trade pieces? That's the tough thing right now. Well, right now I'm seeing if we move back with the bishop, maybe they'll trade their knight. I mean, it's not a great knight, but at this point, we're still up 3 points, so we don't care. We just want to get it off the board. If we get all the stuff off the board, we don't have to worry about it. We don't have to worry about blundering. We're just simplifying the game. So we're going to move our bishop. And we're going to attack the knight. Okay, so they've gone ahead, and they are blocking our attack. But in blocking our attack, they're also weakening the space in front of the king. Anytime you push a pawn, you can't bring it back. It's always pushed at that point. So this pawn now that was protecting the king, it's no longer there. So we should think about maybe their king's safety is compromised. I know we're saying like we should definitely be trading, but I think at this point we should also apply a little bit of pressure to this weakened king. How can we do that? Well, we can jump our queen over into h5. And this is also a theme sometimes you'll see when you're trying to force your opponent to trade. You know, you're ahead already, you want those trades, your opponent doesn't want to trade, they don't want to run out of pieces and leave you like a piece up. So they'll try to stop you, but in trying to stop you from your plan of just doing some nice friendly trades, a lot of times they'll blunder even more pieces. So we can move our queen over here, and we can threaten Mr. Knight. We can threaten the horsey. Alright, now at this point, they've jumped their horsey into the center. And what are they threatening? They are threatening to trade with us. We like trades. Didn't we just say that we like trades, right? So I'm okay if they want to do that. Let's take a look, though, and make sure that we're not blundering anything, because every move changes the situation, okay? Do they have anything that can really hurt us? I mean, their bishop is staring at the knight now. I guess that's great. Queen and bishop are kind of on the same diagonal, but they're not really threatening us right now. Knights are kind of tricky, so we should pay attention to this knight. Where can it jump from here, okay? It can jump to, well, it can jump to these squares currently. If it jumps back here, it'll threaten our queen, and then I guess we'll have to move our queen. We'll come to that when and if it happens. I think we should just go on the attack again. Just try to get them to trade. Maybe they'll trade with us. We want trades. We want them to trade. And they said, okay, we'll trade. All right, sure. So we're going to take this knight off the board. And there we go. We have done a trade. Finally. Finally, we got what we want. We did a trade. Now we have to look for some more, Can't talk for a moment. Give me a second. We need to look for more trades. We need to look for more things we can do. Well, I'm just taking a look here. We can't really take this pawn yet because the queen is backing it up, right? We can't take this pawn because there's a queen and a bishop staring at it. So, what are we supposed to do? Well, I think we're gonna have to go for maybe pushing some of our pawns. So, if we push this pawn, they can either take it, or, and if they take it, they lose their queen, or they can push. Is pushing that great for us? I don't really like the idea of them pushing, honestly. So I think we're just gonna play it super safe, and we're gonna see what our opponent wants to do. They're pushing a lot of pawns, so I'm just gonna play a quiet move. So sometimes you'll hear quiet moves. Quiet moves are moves that don't appear to do a whole lot. We're just giving our opponent some time to make another mistake. This pawn is under fire anyway from the bishop, so let's just move it. Let's just move it here. And in moving it here, we're also guarding against the square. Alright, and they've decided to bring their king up, which is interesting. I'm not sure why they did that. Alright. At this point, I don't really want to move this up anymore. I don't want them moving here. We need to do something else. I know I said generally you do not want to push pawns in front of your king, but we are ahead, and I think we need to open up some things. So if we play a move like F4, it's going to open up the position around this exposed king. So let's play F4. If they don't like that move, they can always choose not to trade by moving forward. But if that happens, we'll take here and we'll be threatening the light squared bishop. So let's see what they want to do. All right, they're moving their rook over. So I guess we have to move our queen out of the way, huh? So if we move our queen here, it's doing a pretty good job then also threatening d5, which means next turn, if they don't do anything about that threat, we'll be able to take there. So let's see what happens. We're gonna go ahead and we're gonna threaten d5, and they pushed, and this is okay, right? We let's look at what's going on here. So we have 1, 2, 3 different pieces that are now attacking this square. They have 1, 2 pieces that are defending the square. 3 is greater than 2, so we can go ahead and take, and we know we'll come out ahead. And now what to take with. If we take with the bishop, it's interesting, because if we take with the bishop, maybe we push our pawn next and we have a discovered check on the king, and the king and the rook are on the same diagonal. So that's interesting, isn't it? Otherwise, we can take with our rook, which threatens the queen right away, brings another threat. Very interesting. I think, you know, tactically, we could take with, you know, with the bishop. But I want to show you that, you know, these kind of advanced tactics aren't required to win games at your level. So instead, we're just going to take with the rook. I think it's a little better in this situation to take with the bishop, but we're going to take with the rook instead. Okay, and they've moved their queen over to A8, which, if you look, it's staring at our queen now. However, we are up in pieces right now, and since we have an advantage with the amount of pieces that we have, we're 4 points ahead. We like trades, right? We just said we wanted trades. This is a trade. Is it our queen? Yeah. Is that scary? No, it shouldn't be. As you know, as a lower level player, lower elo player, it is. I understand it's a little bit scary. You want your queen. It's a powerful piece. But their queen's a powerful piece too. And if we just take it off the board, especially when we're ahead, we're fine. You know. Even our king is fine. We can start bringing our king in. We're not scared. We'll bring our king in pretty much right away. It's fine. Okay, so we need to do something else. I just mentioned about bringing the king in. That feels good. We can also connect the rooks. I mean, rooks really like being on open files, right? So we could connect the rooks on the D file. That's true. We could. We see our opponent has this bishop pair here, which is super annoying, so we should probably find a way to trade this off. And we have to be mindful not to, like, set our pieces on any squares that those are affecting, right? So I think our plan should be to get our rooks on open files and get them up to the 7th rank. Rooks really love being on the 7th rank. That's where they dream of going. Okay, so let's just go ahead and actually, before we do that, let's just think about what happens if we do move here. No, it's fine. I was looking at the fact that they could move their bishop here and threaten our rook, but they can't, because we're right here. Alright, so instead they moved their bishop to b4. Are they really threatening anything? No, not really. Is it another opportunity for us to trade? I think it is. Look at this. If we play bishop to d2, it's being guarded by our rook, and look, we're looking at that bishop. We're asking it, please trade with us, please. Can you please trade? It's a trade, please. And they took it. So we'll take back. Okay. So now we just need to win, right? So let's see what we can do. We want to become like a professional pawn grabber in the end game, right? We want these pawns. So I'm looking at these pawns are both kind of weak. Is there some way we can threaten those pawns? Any way we can threaten the pawns? Yeah, I think there might be. I think we can move to f2, or we can move to d4. Both look pretty good. Both look like impossible, really, to block. So let's just go ahead and move to f2 there. All right, they're moving their rook in. Is that really a concern to us? No, not really. Let's go ahead and take this. Okay, so we went ahead and we took there, and now they've moved their bishop. So we have a couple choices here. I think I can go ahead and play d1, and we're gonna move to d1. We're threatening the bishop. And we're kind of forcing this rook to stay guarding the bishop, right? And they also can't really move the bishop away. Bishops don't move like that. They can't move the bishop away, because if they do, the rook is behind it. So let's just go ahead and play d1 here. Rook d1. All right. And yeah, let's give some more pressure to this piece here. Right? So let's move our other rook down to f3. Now I think the bishop is really in trouble. Yeah. So they've just kind of given up. So let's go ahead and take the bishop. And look at them, so inconsiderate. They don't want to trade. Well, right now they are threatening that pawn. I don't really want to let them have the pawn. So we need to do something. Let's just go and move the pawn up to b3. Okay. And they want to trade. They're doing another pawn trade. Sure. Let's do a pawn trade right now. Now that this pawn has become a passer, we want to guard it, right? We don't want to lose it super easily. So for that reason, we're going to guard it with our rook. And we'll see what they do next. All right, they're moving their rook into position, trying to have some sort of funny business with us. I don't really want them to do that, so let's see if we can remove the rookie here. So right now they're on this file. Maybe we should play our rook here, because the idea is this pawn might guard that. I don't want to move this rook, because then we'll blunder this pawn. So this rook is doing a really good job of holding the position. So let's just bring the other rook in, okay? Nothing complicated. And now the rook has gone back because it really can't do anything else. And at this point, I'm just going to connect the two rooks. Nothing too complicated right now, and we're going to start moving the king in, right? But we just need to do it carefully, because we don't want this rook to take anything. So we're gonna move our rook back, and now we're gonna start moving our king forward, right? And look, our pawn is getting closer to advancing. Let's advance it a little bit. Oh, okay, this is great. Let's just go ahead and get a queen right now. They're forced to trade with us. And now we've got the only rook in town, right? That's it. And now we just have to make sure we don't stalemate them. You know, let's just keep it simple, okay? So we're just going to shut their king out from helping at all, right? We're going to move our rook all the way up to the 7th rank, and we're just going to tell the king there, you're not allowed. You're not allowed to come to, you know, you're not allowed to do anything at all. Just stay in the corner. And while that happens, we're going to bring our king over and very calmly take out this pawn on a5. And the king really can't do anything. If black's king gets a little bit closer to our rook and is threatening it, we'll just move the rook to the other side of the board. We're okay, we can do that. And now, yeah, there's pretty much nothing at all that the king can do. I'm going to move my king up behind the rook just to make sure that this king, you know, the enemy king can never take out a rook. Right, and then we're just going to slowly move and advance our pawn up the board. And hey, look at that, it's checkmate. Pretty cool. Let's do a game review together, and let's see what we can learn from the game review. Alright, game review time. So, you can see we didn't do any advanced tactics that game at all. We just played solid chess. We didn't even play, like, super fast-paced chess or anything. We took our time developing our pieces. If the opponent jumped on our side of the board while we were developing, we could deal with it. But, you know, barring that, we just wanted to stick to our strategy and our and practice, you know, our good chess principles. So good chess principles got us 86.2%. Is it 100%? No. No, it's not. But again, you don't need to play the best. You just need to play better than your opponents at this level. So we played an okay opening. Again, nothing fancy. We didn't do any, you know, we didn't really do any advanced opening or have any theory whatsoever in the opening. We just developed our pieces. And because we just developed our pieces, and they were all in the best squares, we had a really good middle game and a really good end game. We'll just take a quick look. We just played this game, so I'm not going to spend too much time on it, but you can see through just good development, and you can also see that the computer says, Stockfish says that we messed up here. We had a miss, which is what I was talking about. Technically, the best move in this position is playing d4, but that's okay. We don't need to do the best move, right? It's all right. We're not pressuring ourselves to always make the best moves. We're just trying to make good, solid moves, okay? And just like I said at this time of the game, when they moved back, I thought, like, oh, the engine is going to evaluate us at least a 1-point advantage, and you can see it was actually 1.7. That's how big a difference time makes in chess and making a wasted move. It gives you such a huge advantage. You might not, you know, at a lower elo, you might not really be able to recognize all of the reasons of why that is or feel it necessarily in your game. You're just going to have to instinctively know that if your opponent wastes a move, it will be better for you. And again, inaccuracy, we don't care. We don't care that's an inaccuracy. We just care that we're playing better than our opponent. Look at that random move from our opponent. Did we get stressed out about it? No, we didn't. We said, hey, this is a random move. It's really weird. So it can't be a good move, can it? And we just went about our plan, you know? We just kept developing. And you can see there, castling there, was it the best move? Nope. But it was fine. It was still a thumbs up. We got a thumbs up. That's all we're after. And now now Stockfish says we're even better. It's giving us a 2.35 point lead, even though no No pieces have been exchanged at all yet. We created our little escape hatch for our king, right? Played the knight on the side. We thought, okay, that's fine. We'll just continue with our plan of developing. And again, if they did at this point while we're developing, let's say they decide to jump into our side of the board, they decide to start something and get their pieces over. No problem. It's on our side of the board. We'll just attack it. They'd probably move their pawn there, and then we have to move our knight, and we just move it back to say e2, and then that would be threatening d4 again. Then we just go, you know, we'd go about our business, finishing our development. So again, we're defending if need be during our development, but we're not outright attacking, okay? We want to get all of our pieces in play and coordinated together before we attack, because the more team members you have on the board helping you, the more opportunities that you're going to have, the more things that are being threatened. I mean, right now, with everything out, this whole line is threatened, this is covered, that's covered, this is, that, which is, you know, this whole section is covered, this is covered, that's being attacked. So you can see, like, start to visualize, when we have a lot of our pieces developed, there are so many dangerous squares that our opponent needs to be aware of. So many squares where if they put something, you know, they potentially could blunder it because we have this many pieces developed. And so now there's another piece developed. So now this bishop, instead of just looking at this diagonal, it's looking at both diagonals. So we have even more squares that we're exerting control over, you know? We moved our queen out of the way, connecting the rooks. We kind of thought, what's the best square? Is it D2 or E2? We chose the best on E2. You know, if it wasn't the best, it's still okay. It's still good enough for us, because we wanted to get those rooks connected. And now you can see the engine agrees, Stockfish agrees, bringing the rook to the center is the correct move. It's the best move. And you can see bring this other rook to the center. Even though technically there's a queen and a bishop and a pawn all in the way of it, it's still a check mark. It's still a good move. And then you can see we just, since our development was complete, now that our development is complete, we are starting the attack. And you can see our opponent misjudged. That's going to happen a lot at lower elos. They're going to misjudge if something is safe to push or something is safe to attack with. And we always want to remember to count the number of attackers and defenders of a square. And if we have more, you know, attackers / defenders than our opponent has, then it's safe for us to go after that square. And you see all these trades, everything we're doing here, it's the best. It's the best move. And the engine now is saying that we have a 4-point advantage, even though we're only 1 point ahead. And the reason of that is all about positional advantage. You can see these bishops now are what I keep terming as monsters. They've turned into these absolute monsters. But you can see, like, just how many squares that we threaten right now. Pretty much all of these squares are covered by us and threatened by us. So yeah, it's that's the biggest takeaway here. Again, once you start developing your pieces and getting everything developed, tactics will just naturally start popping up because you'll have just so many opportunities for things to happen. All right, they blundered their rook, so they're down in exchange. And sometimes, you know, your opponents can feel pressured and can make mistakes like that. We began pushing our pawn, since it was guarded by our queen and our rook. And then we just started doing some other pawn moves. We moved this pawn up to defend the bishop. And now we started thinking about how we're 3 points ahead, so we're going to go for trades, right? We just want to trade pieces. Our opponent didn't want to trade, didn't want us to take the knight. Well, that's okay. We'll just move in and we'll kind of demand that, you know, we take it. And in doing this, they weakened their king as well, so even better for us. And again, same thing. You can see all of our moves are good because we have a simple plan now. We caused our opponent to blunder, and we are up material, so we are just trading. Alright, more trades happen. Pushing some pawns. We have to move our queen out of the way, so we moved it to f3. So we're retreating our queen, but we're also creating another threat, which is why it gets a star. Because it's not just retreating, it's also creating another threat. They move forward, they misjudged that. We already knew we had enough material that was pointed at that square where they couldn't do it. They moved their queen to a8, saying, hey, I want to trade queens with you. It's not the best move, but it's good enough. Good enough for us. We got the queens off the board, and we're still 4 points ahead. Our king is feeling a little bit safer now. We can start moving it up, and it's not really going to be a large concern for us. So you can see everything's just good. And we're not, like, trying to do any advanced tactics. In fact, we passed up the opportunity midway through to do an advanced tactic to try to set up a discovery attack on the king and skewer the king and the rook. Because, again, it's not needed at this elo level. You don't need to be that fancy right now. So we were just very careful. We didn't go into anything too quickly. We were just playing very carefully at this point. When we saw the opportunity to, we pushed the pawn forward, forced it into a queen, took their only rook, and then we just isolated the king. We forced the king to be on the back rank. And we just moved things in. You can see here too how the engine says that we had a forced checkmate that we could do. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter because where's that king going, right? Nowhere. You can see a lot of the moves that the computer's making with their king, it's saying are the best moves. That's because there are no good moves available, so every move is the best move. It's the only thing that Black's king can do. And then we just go ahead and we promote and we win the game. So this is going to be the end of this video. Again, just wanted to take you guys through and show you, yeah, what you can do against, you know, kind of weird moves that you don't understand, and just how simple it can be to win if you're just using those good chess principles. So hopefully you learned something. Let me know if this was helpful for you, and I'll see you in the next video. Alright, bye everyone!